This is the Greg Bedard Patriots Podcast with Nick Cattles.
Oh, yes. This is week one, baby. Football season is back. It is the Greg Bedard Patriots Podcast with Nick Cattles, brought to you by Legends, a premium athletic apparel built for the modern athlete, owned by some of your favorite athletes, including number 55 himself, Willie McGinnis. And I got my Legend stuff today in the mail. We'll talk about it a little bit later. This is some sweet, sweet stuff. Greg, Patriots season, it all begins. Let's first start with the biggest story, obviously, over the past couple of weeks. Will be the biggest story, I think, the entire season. That is Mac Jones. You took a look in three parts at BSJ.com this week, and you figured out why Mac was the decision that Bill Belichick made.
Yeah. So what happened was I came across through a league source, I came across the all 22 coaches film from the preseason. This is not available on NFL Game Pass. It is during the regular season. During the preseason, I don't know. They just like to be jerks to us. They don't make it available to the media. And so you have to go begging for it. And I was able to get the three games because I needed more information on what's going on in the quarterbacks. I needed to see the routes. I needed to see the defense. I need to watch it 50 times each play. And so I did that. And so I've graded every throw. I timed every drop back and timed snap to throw. And overall, the big thing is that, Mac Jones clearly graded out as the better quarterback. He had, when you broke it down into basically, look, 2.5 out of 5 was sort of the mid-range for me. So I looked at, all right, well, what's the percentage of the passes that are below average? And, Cam Newton clearly had the higher percentage of passes that were graded below average. So he had, for the three games, 52.4%. 11 of his 22 dropbacks to me were below average.
Wow.
In terms of either delivering the ball. Most of it was timing issues. Some of it reads or adjusting the pressure. Mac Jones, conversely, just 11 of 64 dropbacks, 17.2% were below average to me. This was you could see this when you're watching the films, and I went 1, 2, and 3. This is sort of the takeaway that I had after the first game, that and it doesn't play out exactly. We'll get to the above average plays in a second, but when you watched it, the first game, you're like, okay, well, they're both in the same area on how many highly graded throws they have. But the big disparity was, what's the floor for each guy?
Right.
Basically how many poor throws or poor decisions do they have? And Mac was ahead in all three games from the get-go. That continued in terms of really good plays, passes graded above average. Cam Newton, 6 of 21. That's 28.6%. Mac Jones, 27 of 64, 42%. So to me, overall, those numbers make it clear, but there was one play in particular that stood out.
Yeah, I don't want to get to that play just yet because I want to highlight what you just said. I mean, in layman's terms, right? You push aside the numbers. Really what you just told us, Greg, is when Cam Newton dropped back in the pocket, it was a flip of the coin, whether he was going to be able to see things the right way and make the right play. It was a flip of the coin for him. Belichick and Josh McDaniels could stand on the sidelines and say, all right, heads up, it's tails. Cam's going to screw us. And when you look at Mac, when you talk about floor, you're talking 80%-ish of the time. When he drops back, you feel like he's going to make at least the smart play, if not the perfect play. So I just wanted to highlight that to really tell people, what Belichick and McDaniels and the coaching staff, what they were looking at was a 50-50 proposition with Cam. And with Mac, it wasn't 50-50.
It's a great point, Nick, and I'll even go further. I mean, when you look at the numbers, when Cam Newton dropped back to pass, and this is just the preseason, so, take it for what it's worth, half the time he was going to make a poor play, 52.4% of the time. That's on his dropbacks. Half the time he was going to make a poor play. He was going to make a good play out of every three, basically, about 30%. And so that's not a very good percentage. Mac, on the other hand, when he dropped back to pass, it was basically 1 in 5 plays would be poor. As far as the good plays, it was 1 out of every 2. So when you look at it that way, that's clearly, and when you talk about the way the Patriots do things and about how they're constructed and with this defense and the special teams and Belichick and McDaniels, clearly a quarterback with the higher floor, which keeping them out of bad plays, keeping the chains going, not turning the ball over, making good decisions. That guy obviously is of higher quality and of higher interest to this team. And you look at it that way, it makes it sort of clear why they made their decision.
All right, so let's talk about this one play, because I know you found one play that really told the tale of this quarterback competition during the camp we just had. Tell us about the one play and why it stood out to you.
Yeah, and this isn't hyperbole, because I was almost the guy who invented the film study and being like, here's the one play that did, like, and look, and I mean it every time I write it. It's gotten a little bit out of control now, since then. But this, and I wasn't going and looking for this. And look, I've watched all the TV copies of the games. I didn't expect to see this, but it was clear as day. And to set the scene, it's the Giants game. Cam Newton on his first drive ends in the red zone, where basically he's pressured twice and he just throws the ball away on second and third down. So that's the background. And I had watching the film, and people will see this at bostonsportsjournal.com, part of being a member, and you get this throughout the season, sometimes in the off season. You get me giving you video analysis of the coach's film. And so that's what this is. And I broke down those plays. And what I said at the time was, look, he's year 2 into the system. We don't have a better solution to, the Giants being in obvious pressure. There's nothing else. There's no check. There's no anything. Now, look, I'll give Cam credit. He's come forward to the point where, all right, he knows now that there's probably going to be pressure on him. He's going to have to get rid of the ball. He gets rid of the ball. But there's no check. There's no this. There's no that. There's none of that stuff that's built into this offense for a quarterback that can access those tools. And so with that as a backdrop, 3rd and 4, I think there's about 9 minutes left in the first half. It's the Giants starting defense against the Patriots backups on offense, especially the offensive line behind Mac Jones. It's 3rd and 4. So Mac does a couple things here, and it surprised the hell out of me when I saw it on the coach's film. Maybe they just cut away before the snap, so we didn't see it on the TV copy. Mac, first of all, he does a dummy count where he goes basically like, ready, set, hut. And nobody's jumping on offense, but you're hoping to get the defense to show what they might be running on defense, what kind of pressure. The Giants do. The safety comes onto the line. Mac now changes the protection. He also motions to Devin Asiasi. And look, I'm just guessing. I'm not saying, I don't know this happened, but
yeah,
I've watched a little bit of film. I think this is what happened. He tells Devin Asiasi to stay in the block. He doesn't block the right guy, but that's a separate discussion. So he's changed the protection. Asiasi staying in the block now instead of, they were in empty protection and the Giants were showing 7 rushers. So basically it was 5 on 7. Not good odds. So we had Devin Asiasi stay in. Now it's 6 versus 7. And Mac knows they're going to be one unblocked guy that he's responsible for. He changes Christian Wilkerson's route. He gives him he touches his neck while he's looking at him, some sort of route adjustment. He looks to the left side and he does the famous, like almost like gun with the finger 6-shooter thing that Tom Brady has done over the years. To the left side. Yeah, that thing. And so then they go out with the play, and Mac, here comes a free rusher. Mac gets rid of it. All out blitz, throws the ball deep. It falls incomplete. There's defensive holding. The safety held Christian Wilkerson, first down Patriots. But this one play, what Mac showed in the first half of his 3rd preseason game, was more than Cam Newton has shown his entire time in terms of accessing the tools that are available to the quarterback in this offense. And that's the whole key to this offense. We talk about that this offense has built-in solutions to basically anything that the defense throws at them that they know is coming. Cam, we saw for a full year, we saw it in this preseason. He's a sitting duck back there. He doesn't make check. He doesn't do any of those things. Mac Jones got the Patriots into a really good play with practice. That's a touchdown and wins them a game or what have you. But To me, once I saw that play, I was like, this is it. This is the difference between Mac Jones and Cam Newton. To me, it makes it an open and shut case why Mac Jones is the starting quarterback.
It goes back to the first time you talked about Mac Jones. Very similar kind of read of the situation, right? When you saw Mac at the very beginning of this camp versus Cam, Mac, he'd point out the mic, but then he'd adjust if there was an adjustment to be made. Mm-hmm. Cam would point out the mic, and then that was pretty much it. And, Cam did not show the aptitude as they went forward to improve on that. And what I'm hearing from you is, hey, listen, at their ceiling, the best of the best plays this preseason, they were pretty close. Best of the best, they were pretty close. The rest of everything, Mac led. And so if you say they're pretty close at the best of the best plays they made, and then everything else was a strong lean to Mac, and then you think about, Greg, that Mac is a rookie and Cam is a 2015 MVP who had a full year with the Patriots before Mac got here, it's pretty clear why the decision was made. So Mac is going to be the starting quarterback. Cam is out of town. He releases a video today saying he's going to have stuff to get off of his chest on Friday. Greg, does he have a beef?
I think he does, Nick. I do. And I brought this up on Felger and Maz the other day. Like, look, I understand the Patriots have to handle things in a certain way in terms of preseason snaps, and practice is one thing. And Cam took himself out of 4 days of practice, so he has no one to blame that but himself. I will say that, what also came clear in this preseason is just how many more reps Mac got than Cam. I mean, at the end of the day, Mac Jones had 107 snaps. I'm going off Pro Football Focus, so they count penalties and stuff like that because those plays actually happen. 107 snaps, 67 passes. Okay, 107 snaps, 65 passes. Mac Jones had 38 plays, and I just said it wrong. What am I, an idiot? Let me start over. Okay, so Mac Jones had 107 plays, 65 were passes.
Okay.
Cam Newton had 38 total plays, not even half Mac's passes. That's
not even close.
And Cam had 21 dropbacks. Look, I understand that Cam's a veteran. He doesn't need as much work. I understand that Mac Jones is a first-round rookie. He needs to be exposed to things. They need to up his reps. You don't want to expose the veteran to injury. I understand all that. But if you put yourself in Cam Newton's shoes, yes, I know. I understand he didn't have any other options last offseason or this offseason. But he signs with his team. They give him a little bit more money. Bill Belichick says great things about him all the time, says he's a quarterback, he's our quarterback, what have you. But if Cam Newton was in a competition for his job, then he should have been given every opportunity to win that job. And not just for the Patriots, for the rest of the NFL. Because, Nick, how many times did we talk about, all right, Cam's here. This is it for his career. Like, he's coming back. They made all the excuses possible for him last year. COVID and signing late, no weapons and terrible team and all this. He's coming back. He's going to be better in year two. If he wasn't better in year two, then his NFL career could be over. And that the Patriots didn't give him an opportunity to, at least be equitable, somewhat equitable with the snaps in the preseason to Mac Jones. If I'm Cam Newton, I don't feel good about it. I don't like it. I don't like that the Patriots didn't give me an opportunity to showcase myself more to the rest of the league. Let me run a couple plays, a couple quarterbacks draws. Let me show them my legs. So, yeah, I think he has beef. I don't know. Do you think he does, Nick?
I mean, it's an interesting point. I mean, the idea of, hey, give me a little bit more of a chance here. And maybe Belichick saw what he needed to see from Cam during practice and joint practices. And I do think no matter what they say, I do think the unvaccinated situation played a role in this. I'm not saying it was the biggest thing, but I do think it was a piece of the puzzle here. And I think Belichick might have said, hey, I'm going to do what's best for the football team, which he always says, not necessarily what's best for Cam Newton, the individual. And at a certain point, it looks like he said, no, we got to get Mac a lot more snaps and a lot more throws because we think this guy, again, the floor is higher with Mac. So if we're going to do what's right for the football team, we've got to get him ready. We've got to get him prepared. And we're going to give Cam still shots. We're going to, we're going to throw him out there. He's going to get reps with the ones behind the starting offensive line. We're going to give him a chance. But I do think maybe at some point Belichick realized that this competition was turning into Mac's the better option. And at that point, okay, we've got to kind of pivot and we've got to give him more of the throws. Now, from Cam's standpoint, yeah, I mean, again, I think if Belichick did come to that conclusion, it was what was best for the team, which doesn't mean it was best for Cam. And I'm certainly sure that Cam looks back and says, look at the stats. Look at how many times I was given an opportunity to throw the football. And it doesn't matter because people will say, well, Nick, he sucked. Greg, he sucked. It doesn't matter. If he threw the ball 100 more times, he would have still stunk. That's not the point. The point is Cam looks back at it and probably says, I was not given as much of an opportunity as I wish I was given for whatever reason. I don't even know if he cares what the reason is, but he's going to look back and say, yeah, I'm not too happy about that. All right, so let's jump into some of the things that we feel good about with this football team, some of the things we are maybe worried about or concerned about. First, Greg, we'll go through 3 things we feel good about. You start with 1.
The offensive line in general. I mean, I just feel great about that lineup. Now, of course, I'm crossing my fingers. Of course, I say this now, and Isaiah Wynn's probably going to get, run over by somebody in the opener. And and now they're going to have to switch people all over the place. But look, it's Isaiah Wynn's really good. Michael Wenhu's really good. He had some little difficulty with some pressures. I'll be interested to see if the Dolphins exploit that in the opener a little bit. Struggled a little bit in the Giants game. David Andrews is tremendous. Shaq Mason, great. Trent Brown has been just better the second time around than he was the first. And I didn't think that was remotely possible.
He's a good Trent Brown, not the worried, oh my God, he's as big of a truck and
no.
Do a job. Like,
he's like Santa Claus Trent Brown. Like, that's how good he is. Like, he's a leader. All of a sudden he's a leader and a mentor. And like in Vegas, they couldn't even get him to practice. Here he's like, I don't know. I think he's picking up like some of the coaches' kids and driving them to school and stuff. I mean, he just does it all.
That's a big ass Santa Claus.
Big Santa Claus, big van, probably that he's driving people around. But anyways, my number one thing that I feel good about is the offensive line.
I'm with you. The next thing that I feel good about is the run game. I think this team is going to be able to run the football consistently and produce. I mean, when you look at that running back room, even with Sony Michel going to L.A., he went to L.A. because of Ramondre Stevenson. And when you look at Harris and Stevenson and White and J.J. Taylor, I think you have a great mix of explosion, power, pass receiving. I think this stable of backs to go along with the offensive line, which you hit on, I just think it's going to be very difficult for defenses to slow this run game down week after week after week after week.
Yeah, and I'm very mad that somebody beat me to the punch for Damian Harris in my fantasy draft.
Oh, me too. It happened tonight. So pissed.
So, yeah, I thought that was going to be in my back pocket. I was like, oh, well, I can always get Damian Harris. Nobody really knows him. As somebody, of course, I'm in a fantasy league with a bunch of massholes, so they know the deal. I should have known better. But anyways, I totally agree with you. But number 2 on my, feel good list is I feel really good, and maybe it shouldn't be this high. Maybe it should really be number 3. But I feel really good about some of the stuff we talked about with Mac Jones. Just basically Mac Jones's ability to keep the offense on schedule. I'll put it that way. Just not turning the ball over, not making stupid decisions, reacting well to pressure, getting them in and out of good plays, and avoiding bad plays. Like all the little things that people don't really take into account that really is humongous in this offense and is really sort of the foundation of this offense. I feel good about Mac Jones being able to deliver on that front, and that gives the Patriots a really good, I don't want to say advantage because I'm not going to make it out like, they're going to be world beaters this year. I don't know if they're going to be, but I think he gets them in the right direction.
I feel good about the front 7. As bad as I felt about this front 7 last year is as good as I feel about this front 7 this year. I mean, you look at this defensive line, I think they got the beef in the middle to slow down the run. I've got no problem whatsoever with the edges. Judon's been a stud. Uche looks like he's going to be a stud. Van Noy might play a little bit there. I've heard great things about Ronnie Perkins, even though I haven't seen a lot from him during the preseason games.
Yep.
Maybe I haven't been looking enough. Christian Barmore, I mean, he popped off my screen the last game. I mean, I thought he made play after play, and he looks like, at the very least, a nice, sub rusher in the middle of that defensive line. I'm really bullish, Greg, on this front seven.
Yeah, I think that's a really good one, and mine was going to be related to that. So my number 3, I'm gonna zag a little bit, to avoid being repetitive, and I'm gonna say, something you said sort of keyed it. I'm gonna say this year's draft class is something that I feel good about, and not, I'm not one of these people that goes overboard, and I'm not telling you that they're going in the Hall of Fame, but look, I've been very critical, I think, very fairly, of their drafts in recent years. And, it's only fair for me to point out that I think they did a really good job this year. When you talk about, probably the best rookie starting quarterback in the league, I think he will. I mean, Zach Wilson is the best in my opinion. But in terms of what they actually do this season, I think Mac is going to win out over everybody. If anybody has seen San Francisco's film, Trey Lance is not ready to play anytime soon.
I agree.
If the guy throws at 100 miles an hour, guys can't catch the ball. They deflect all over the place. Like, any delusions of, and I even heard from people on Twitter being like, oh yeah, well, they're going to release Jimmy G and go with Trey Lance. And the Patriots are going to sign him. I'm like, no, they're really not. Trey Lance is not good right now at quarterback. He'll be lucky to get package deals. So I think, between Mac Jones, I think Barmore, look, I don't know what the guy's going to be for his career, but at least in the short term for this year, I think he's going to be one of their best rookie defensive linemen ever. And that's pretty high praise considering some of the guys that they've had around here. I mean, look, Richard Seymour.
If you're not watching the video, my face was like, oh, really? Ooh.
Yeah, well, look, I'm not saying Richard Seymour is just different. I'm just talking about like an interior guy.
Yeah.
Vince Wilfork was really good, but he was a role player as a rookie. Christian Barmore looks like he's going to be no role player for a really good defense. And so I think he's in that conversation. Stevenson, whenever he gets past this thumb thing, he's probably going to be the backup running back and probably get goal line carries. And I think Ronnie Perkins, and he is off, like you said, he is off to a little bit of a slower start. He's had some nicks and bruises here. I think he's going to displace a guy like Chase Winovich. And, to do that in your first 4 picks for the Patriots, who never play any rookies ever, that's saying a lot. So yes, I've criticized them in the past. I'm not taking any of that back. It doesn't change anything. I've been fair about that. I've been accurate about that. And I think I'm being fair here, saying that I really like this rookie class.
All right, quickly, 3 things that we're worried about. You start with number 1, Greg.
Jalen Mills. And you're probably going to say the same thing. I mean, it's just, and he cropped up on the injury report today with an ankle. Like, is his ankle green too, like his hair? I don't know. I don't know how that works. But yeah, Jalen Mills.
Corner, if he's playing outside corner, which he is right now, I'm going to have a green face because I'm going to be sick to my stomach watching him.
That's going to be the color of your vomit when you.
Yeah. I just puked up the Green Goblin playing on the outside again. Yeah, defensive backs without Gilmore was my number 1. So I'll jump to something else. A true legitimate wide receiver 1, which we've talked about from really the offseason. And I understand tight ends. I get it. I do.
Yep.
But I would have loved to see them add a legit number 1 receiver. I don't know what Nelson Aguilar is going to do. I don't know if they have covered him up to like keep him until, keep him as like almost a secret until week 1, or he just wasn't able to get out there and do much at all in the preseason. I heard some great reports about him early in camp, not so much late in camp. So I think a legitimate wide receiver 1 would have been fantastic for this team, and I don't think they have one.
Yeah, and I think that's a good one. Their route running both of them has been a little bit iffy in the preseason. Now that I've been able to watch, especially Bourne, and Bourne is such a ridiculous athlete that I think Mac Jones is going to give him the Ocho Cinco treatment, like Carson Palmer did, which is basically, I'm not sure that guy knows where he's going, but he's going to be open. So I'm gonna stare him down and I'm gonna throw it. I don't think it's going to get that bad. But I do think that Kendrick Bourne has so far has had a lot of mental errors. This even went on in practice where it's just like, Kendrick, what are you doing? These guys are in two shell. You're supposed to do this. Why aren't you doing this? That stuff went on in practice. It's gone on in the games. I worry a little bit, but the guy's such a phenomenal athlete. I think he's going to make plays. Aguilar, like you said, I think he's a complete unknown. He could be great. He could be terrible. Nobody knows because we've barely seen him this summer. Every other practice, it was something he was leaving with.
He's like wearing the cloak of invisibility. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea what the hell's going on.
I got to say, by the way, the other day was the first time I've spoken to him, via Zoom. Very intelligent, very nice young man. Somewhat answered questions. He didn't. Some of them he wasn't cooperative on, but he did admit when I asked him about how he's doing with the playbook, and I had to ask questions a couple different ways because he would bat him away. But I did get him to comment on the playbook and how he's doing, and he said, "You're right. It's not easy. It's not easy for anybody, but we'll keep working at it." So that's a good one. Number 2 for me is related to that is Hunter Henry, another cloak of invisibility guy. I don't know. I could tell you from the glimpses that we had in practice, and that was a glorious 3 days of Hunter Henry during the summer. He was great in the red zone. He jumped a lot better than I thought he would in the red zone, and he's a little slow and plodding coming off the ball between the 20s. That's sort of the scouting report on him. If he's just a red zone hero, sign me up. But for this offense to go, like you said, related to the wide receiver thing, I think they need both tight ends and they need them to work well.
You have anything else you're worried about?
The other thing is, I think we talked about it, Godchow and the run defense. Run defense was not great in the preseason, and he had a tough time two-gapping in the middle of that line. That can't continue. If it does, they're going to get run over like they did. Miami's a good test, not a very good offensive line, but this is a team that really ran well against the Patriots last year. So we'll see where they are.
Well, he better be good because I was squawking about the front seven, and they better be that. But another one, quick one, Quinn Nordine. I'm a little iffy on.
I think Nick Folk. It's got to be Folk opening week, doesn't it? They're not going to go with the rookie. They're going to call him up. Him and Hoyer are going to get called up, and I hope that Folk's the kicker, but we'll see.
He's just like he is a heart attack waiting to happen. I'll tell you, I almost had a heart attack today because I was sitting in my living room and Kelly says, "Oh, we got mail for you." And I said to her right away, I said, "That's got to be my Legends stuff. That's got to be my Legends stuff." And if you don't know what Legends is, it's a premium athletic apparel company led by Willie McGinnis. And Greg, I'm not kidding you. This is no BS. I fell in love with it. They've got a hoodie, and I didn't bring it into the man cave that I do the podcast from, but I got a gray hoodie, and the pocket is not huge, which I like in the hoodie. And it's also kind of shaped differently at the bottom of it. And it's really, Kelly said that it's really soft to the touch. I mean, I also got these shorts, and the shorts, they look like almost training shorts. They have like the mesh and an extra layer. And they also have like little, openings in the back, kind of like little holes in the fabric to almost let your ass breathe a little bit, which is nice. And I also got a blue shirt that's really nice. It looks like it's a great material where, like, if you're sweating or, if it's raining outside, it can just kind of fall off of you. First time I've ever seen Legends apparel. And I'm telling you, it looks different. It feels different. And I can't wait to wear it. And I'm not joking at all. This is not, me trying to push you. I have no copy points. This is nothing here, folks. This is my copy I'm putting on the video of our rundown for the podcast. That's just from what I saw today and felt. So you can tell me about Legends and what you know about them, but I know the product, it's pretty sweet. Our guy, Willie McGinnis.
It is. I got mine actually right before the podcast, so I haven't had a chance to try it on, but it looks pretty sharp, especially if you're one of these, athletic guys who goes to the gym, likes to jog. I mean, that's what it's built for, really, that it looks like. And my son was like ready to snake some of my stuff. He was like, let me get some of that stuff. We're talking about a teenage boy in high school who's like, it's too good looking for you, Dad, but I'll take it off you. But Willie McGinnis, along with guys like Steve Nash, Baker Mayfield, Matt Barnes, former Celtic Marcus Morris, and even entertainment icon Quavo are just a few of the names building legends into the hottest apparel brand in the market. Go on their website. I went on there before we came. It shows you all the stuff, the t-shirt, the hoodie, the shorts, all that stuff. It's really high quality. That's for sure. One of the things that stood out when I looked over the stuff, the hoodie, like you said, that thing is going to be awesome when I get into the hockey rinks pretty soon. And also, high school soccer, my daughter's playing. I got to go out there. That thing is going to look great. Visit legends.com today to shop the latest trends in athletic apparel from shorts, tees, hoodies, and more, and save 20% when you use our code PATS20. That's legends.com, promo code PATS20. Offer ends October 10th. So make sure 20%. I mean, that's a great deal. So make sure you get over there. Premium athletic apparel built for the modern athlete. Streetwear inspired design for style and comfort you want to wear all day. Featuring limited edition drops nearly every week to keep your look fresh. And Nick, I need to keep looking fresh. So
of course.
I'm very excited about that.
I'll tell you, the hoodie is a banger.
Yes.
All right, let's quickly run through some things here as far as predictions for the season. Season predictions. Record, Greg. What do you got the Patriots finishing?
What do you got?
What do you got?
I have them 11-6 for a record, and I feel pretty good about it. I think 10-7 is the floor. I think 12-5 is, I think the ceiling for them. So I'm going to go with 11-6.
I mean, I know my eyes are brown, but it's not because I'm full of bleep. I could pull up this right on the camera. I got 11-6, and I feel the same exact way as you. I think 10 wins to me is the floor for this team. If everything goes right, I think they're 12-5. AFC East. Let's start from the bottom to the top. Started from the bottom. Now we're here. Let's start from number 4 to number 1. AFC East. Greg, what do you got?
Jets, Dolphins. This one was tough. Pats, Bills. I think it's going to be really close. I think it might come down to a tiebreaker. I think they split their regular season games, and it comes down to a tiebreaker. I do think the Patriots have a pretty good chance of winning the AFC East, but I'm not ready to go there yet. The Bills have too much stuff coming back. Too much consistency there. Brian Daboll, the offensive coordinator, was gone, and Josh Allen was on an island. I'd give you a better chance. I do think my boy Josh Allen is going to come back to earth this year, and but not that much. I don't think he's going to be a complete disaster. So I'm going with the Bills, even though I want to say the Patriots.
Yeah, this is not exciting. I've got Jets, Dolphins, Pats, Bills, same as you. Playoff finish. Is this, like we said, the floor is 10, the ceiling is 12. We both think that they're likely a playoff team. Is this a team that could make a deep run, Greg?
I do think that they can, because I think they're going to follow the script somewhat of the Bucs last year, who were 7-5, sort of floundering. The offense wasn't clicking. New quarterback. They had to get on the same page. They did finally clicked. 8 wins. They're the Super Bowl champs. Do I think that's going to happen? No. But do I think, I think they win a playoff game and in the wild card round. I think they lose in the divisional round, but of course that depends on matchups. I can't see a scenario. I still think KC will get the bye. I hope they don't lose to Buffalo in a rematch. Cleveland, could Cleveland put them down? Yeah, but road game in Cleveland, possibly. But I have them winning a playoff game, and to me, 11. You say 11-6 playoff win, competitive in the divisional round. To me, that's a pretty good campaign for this group coming together. And you, like I've said, when you add a bunch of pieces, I always look for the second years when you get the huge return. The first year is tough. That's a pretty good first year.
We're sharing a brain. The reason why I laughed while you broke that down, I swear to you, this is what I have typed up. Playoff finish, matchup dependent, sneaks a win in. I mean, that's pretty much what we are same record, same division finish, same playoff projection. If we keep doing this, I don't know what to say. All right, let's
get out of my skull, Cattles.
Let's get out of mine. Let's get to team MVP. If we both agree on this, I might just walk out of the room.
There's no way. There's no way. If people heard this on Felger and Maz, I get to actually complete my statement and give my reason. I think, and look, not the legit winner, but if you really held it to what player was the most valuable player for the Patriots this year, I think it's going to be Trent Brown, because I do not have faith that Isaiah Wynn's going to stay healthy. At the time, Trent Brown is going to be a Pro Bowl, all-pro right tackle. He's going to go to left tackle and play great, keep a rookie quarterback upright so that they can still win 11 games and win a playoff game. I'm sorry, but unless Mac Jones is a superhero, or Damian Harris is, or Nelson Aguilar catches 100 balls, or what have you, to me, that's the most valuable player on this team. And so I'm going with Trent Brown, who now all of a sudden, like, I'm the charter member of his fan club. I don't know how that happened, but the shit gets real, after a month in training camp.
I was just going to say, if we go back, if we rewind the tape, if we rewind the podcast tape from like 2 months ago, it was like, oh my God, let's hope that Trent Brown shows up in shape. Let's just hope that he's not like rolling out there. And here we are now being the team MVP. Outside the box, I'll say this one quickly. It is not Trent Brown, thank God. I have Jonnu Smith, just because when I look at this offense, as I mentioned, the biggest weakness to me is wide receiver 1. And if Aguilar is not doing much of anything, and I don't know if he's going to, again, cloak of invisibility, not sure if it was on purpose or not, but you need somebody explosive. You need somebody to break open some plays. And I think Jonnu could be that steady force offensively. I've heard some whispers that they've been getting him the football in different creative ways. I know
that would be true.
None of the reporters can get into details because those are the rules. Them's the breaks. But I've been told he's gotten the football in creative different ways. I was told that, you don't see tight ends get the football in some of these ways that he has been. So I am interested. My interest is piqued.
You mean like the back of a Volvo? Or a Volkswagen? What was that? Was that a movie, or is it like, we made out in an uncomfortable place, and they're like, back of a Volkswagen? So he's getting the football in uncomfortable places.
All right, so I got Jonnu Smith. Dolphins. Quick chatter about the Dolphins. What do you think about what the Patriots will see on Sunday, 4:25 kick?
Yeah, I think the most useless thing is over-analysis in week 1, because we have no idea what we're going to see. You can't judge anything out the preseason. Don't give me the film. Don't do any of that stuff. I mean, look, Austin Jackson, their left tackles in COVID-19. Shaheen's in COVID-19, one of their tight ends. They're starting a rookie at left guard. I think Eichenberger's pretty good, second rounder. But, man, that's against this front, that's a tall tackle. With Tua, who's not exactly Mr. Mr. Stoic, but in the pocket, and going to sit back there and confident in his reads and his blocking. So, look, they have a ton of talent. I think this is going to be a team that's going to be better in the second half of the season. I think that they have a ridiculous secondary that I think is going to be pretty good. I mean, Jason McCourty's playing free safety, though, so look for them to target him on a few things. But, Rowe's pretty good. Justin Coleman is back, former Patriot. I loved him here. I loved him in Detroit. Byron Jones, Xavier Howard. But to me, I think one of the big storylines in this game, Nick, is the Dolphins, because Brian Flores can't make a decision on who he wants to be offensive coordinator for more than 6 seconds, is now going with, this works all the time, the double offensive coordinator with my guy George Godsey, who I spent a lot of time with when I did the Houston Texans game plan story, was Bill O'Brien's offense coordinator. Love Godsey. He's very smart. I could see him as a future OC here. And Eric Stoodsville, who is mostly, I think, a run game. He was an interim coach with the Broncos, I think maybe after McDaniels got fired. But anyways, the double coordinator works wonders. Like, after firing people left and right, now he's going with the double guys. That's going to be an issue. And Josh Boyer against Josh McDaniels. Boyer is the Dolphins defense coordinator, former secondary coach here with the Patriots. That is a intellectual mismatch if I've ever seen one. And now that Josh McDaniels actually has tools, I expect him to win the day that way. So I like the Patriots pretty good in this game.
The good co-OC, the double mint gum approach to their offensive coordinator. I pretty much everything you just said. I agree with everything you said. I think Tua is a big question mark. I like them coming out of Alabama. I don't like how they handled him last year. There seems to be some unknown about him. It just doesn't seem to me that Brian Flores is fully behind him. We hear the Deshaun Watson stuff. We'll see. We'll see what Tua looks like. But I think the Patriots are the better team. So I've got them winning. And I do, like you said, I think they could win by at least a touchdown. So I like them giving the points on Sunday. Let's get to the BostonSportsJournal.com member question of the day. BSJ, $39.99 on the annual plan. You get all the top-notch analysis. You know the spiel by now. Great stuff from Greg with the Patriots. You take a look at the coach's film. I mean, what he did this week. I know I'm blowing smoke up my guy's ass, but I mean, what he did this week about the decision between Mac and Cam. I've been reading those. I've been watching the videos. The volume could be a little bit higher on those videos. But other than that, just great stuff. If you want to see, film breakdown and why this quarterback decision was made, you only get that at BostonSportsJournal.com. Greg's the only guy that's doing that in depth. Great stuff from him. Let's get to the question of the day. This is from Lee. Any thoughts on Ninkovich's comments about Mac teaching Cam the playbook? Have you heard anything similar from any of your sources?
No, but look, Nick, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, just look at their two backgrounds. I mean, basically, Cam Newton from where he was from, at Auburn, whether it was, when he was first at Florida with Urban Meyer, and then he was at Auburn with Malzahn. Malzahn's always had one of the most basic offenses ever. And then he comes to Carolina and they basically make it work for Cam. They basically cater the offense around him. So, that is basically like, he's just talking regular English. Now he goes to the Patriots and they are speaking basically Mandarin in terms of what they do with their offense, in terms of, before in Auburn and also Carolina to a great extent, it's, look, we're going to run the plays that we run. You might have to do read option here and there, but that's, fake it, read the linebacker. If he comes in, you throw here. If he does that, it's a paint by numbers offense. With the Patriots, it's Mandarin. You got to know, all right, what's the defense going to show? How much film study have you done? What does this mean? Where are they going to do? How about we check? Where's the mic? There's all sorts of different things. So Cam came from a different language to here. Mac Jones has come from the same language almost back to high school. He played for one of the most demanding high school coaches in the state of Florida, a legendary guy who was a hard ass, who coached Mac to be cerebral. Then he goes to Alabama, where he's with Brian Daboll, who's coaching Josh Allen right now. He's with Steve Sarkisian, who is coaching Texas right now, and Nick Saban. And he's with those guys. So he's got pro-style offense coaching the whole time. Then he comes to the Patriots. It's the same thing. So he's gone from English to English, a little bit of a dialect here and a little bit of an accent, but, same sort of language. So that Mac Jones was helping Cam Newton understand how to operate the tools in this offense. It's not surprising to me. It's not an indictment on Cam Newton. It's more about his background. And I think that goes in line with a lot of things. And it's just like, look, we don't need to hear anything from sources. The film is the film. I illustrated to you before the difference between Mac and Cam. The difference is clear. Mac's the guy. And here we go.
Yeah, and you look at Alabama. I mean, you mentioned it a little bit, but just think about the links between the Patriots and Alabama, right? Daboll, he was in New England. When Sarkisian goes to Texas, who does Saban go out and get? Bill O'Brien. So, I mean, it's a very similar system and approach, and as you said, language. So I actually do believe what Ninkovich had to say. I do wonder who told him that and whether or not they wanted him to go public with it, but that's another story for another day. His name is Greg Bedard. My name is Nick Cattles. It's the Greg Bedard Patriots Podcast with Nick Cattles. Hopefully you're sitting in your nice Legends shorts with that banger of a hoodie on. at our guy, Willie McGinnis Company Legends. Check out their premium athletic apparel. We'll be back again this week. We'll have an NFL preview. And then, of course, next week, we'll get into that regular rhythm. Post-game reaction, and then a preview of the next week's games. Greg, great stuff as always. Everybody will talk to you, very soon. Very, very soon.